American President Donald Trump, in his loud fight against migrants, recently signed a high-profile order that could leave half of Silicon Valley without employees. In addition, Trump stated that his policy towards Europe is only beneficial for Europe. If things stay as they are, as the White House said, Europe could become unrecognizable in 20 years or sooner. The Trump administration has officially ordered enhanced screening of all applicants for the H-1B visa, those very visas on which the entire global information technology sector relies. India is already in shock. Tech giant stocks are in turmoil, and in Washington they say outright, "We're bringing jobs back, even if we have to kick out all the smart guys." Today, let's try to make a kind of news digest together. When a decision within the United States is very serious, it has a strong impact on geopolitical dynamics. Let's discuss how Donald Trump began the promised crackdown on migrants, why Putin was smiling in India, and what this has to do with the civilizational erasure of Europe. Hello friends, my name is Alexei Pechi. Let's discuss this topic together, but before we start I ask you to like this episode, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to leave a detailed comment under this episode. In addition, subscribe to my Telegram channel Pechi News, the link is in the description of this video. There we publish breaking news as it comes in. If you want to support the work of this YouTube channel, you can do so financially with any donation or subscription using the links and details in the description of this video. Any support you can give is appreciated. So, the main news of the past few days in the United States, which the Washington Post describes as follows. The Donald Trump administration has ordered increased scrutiny of all applicants for H-1B visas for highly skilled workers. What does this mean in simple terms? It means that if getting a work visa to the United States for a programmer from India, Ukraine or Europe used to be a quest, now it's becoming an impossible task. American media report that the new directives require checking not only the diploma and work experience, but also social media, political views, and even, quote, potential threat to the American labor market. Well, it's come to the point where now an applicant for a work visa will have to prove that he has never criticized Donald Trump on social media, otherwise he will be considered a threat to America. Well, next I'll quote from a report published in the Economics Times. The Trump administration has ordered stricter screening of H-1B visa applicants. This is happening as shares of Indian information technology companies fluctuate due to concerns about foreign capital outflow and the rupee falling to a record low. Why is all this important? Because the H-1B visa is the lifeblood of the global information technology sector. Every year, the United States issues an average of 85,000 of these visas, and the lion's share goes to Indian specialists. Now, this tap is basically being shut off, and as the Indian Express writes, this decision has caused panic in India. Indian companies that have been sending their engineers to the States for decades are now facing a reality where their business model is simply breaking down, and here lies a cynical irony. Just the other day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was receiving congratulations on Navy Day, talking about India's major achievements and so on. But during those same days when Trump issued this directive, Modi was meeting Vladimir Putin in Delhi. And suddenly, the United States' strategic partner delivers a blow to India's main industry. Trump essentially acts on the principle, friendship is friendship, but jobs, are a different matter. And let me remind you that Trump promised his voters that Americans, specifically Americans, would work as programmers in America instead of Indians, instead of migrants in general, and he promised he is delivering, even though in the long run this could lead to disaster. But if you think that only information technology specialists were affected, then unfortunately, you are mistaken. Donald Trump has taken on Europe with rhetoric that, to put it mildly, makes diplomats in Brussels twitch. The other day, the White House made a loud statement. Europe will be unrecognizable in 20 years or even sooner, and there's a lot hidden behind that phrase. Now you'll understand the connection with work visas in the United States. The thing is, in the new United States national security strategy, Trump warns about, quote, the civilizational erasure of European nations. What does that mean? Trump says it directly. The Europe we knew is dying under the influx of migrants and the loss of its own identity. And the United States is no longer going to save those who don't want to save themselves. And here The Guardian, in its analytical article, writes that Trump wants to recreate a white America that never existed and projects this fear onto Europe. Well, let's put aside, as they say, the lyricism. Trump's actions back his words, signaling to right-wing forces in Europe, including Germany, France, and Italy. Like, guys, I'm with you. Your current leadership are weaklings. Macron, Friedrich Merz, Keir Starmer, Giorgia Meloni, they are all weaklings. So, all these options for Germany, all these right-wing forces are getting direct support from Donald Trump. And Trump says, look, I'm going to recreate white America. I'll kick out all the migrants, even all the labor force, the intellect, the minds. I'll kick them all out, take away their work visas. And you'll see what we'll have. We'll have white America. So you should rise up too. This is happening while Europe is in turmoil. Well, first of all, the White House is predicting the collapse of the European social model, and secondly, Germany, which is basically the locomotive of the European Union, is itself in a political crisis. Because Chancellor Friedrich Merz and his parties have come under pressure from right-wing radicals, whom Trump actually supports with his statements. It creates a perfect storm. Trump is shutting America to specialists while telling Europe they're now doomed, as migrants will head there instead, shifting the problem from the United States to Europe. And this is not just isolationism. It's an attempt to reshape the entire Western world for himself. So this is also a kind of hybrid attack. And now let's take a look at what's happening, as they say, on the other side of the globe, while Trump is building these walls around America. Vladimir Putin made a 2-day state visit to New Delhi. By the way, this is the first since the start of the Great War, while the West is trying to isolate Russia. Putin is calmly having dinner at the presidential palace of India. And now the head of India's Ministry of Foreign Affairs declares that the ties between India and Russia are among the strongest in the world. Do you feel this contrast? So, Trump is hitting Indian information technology specialists with visas, while Putin comes and says, listen, we are friends, we are partners, we are allies, buy our oil, we'll sell you weapons, and so on and so on. And at the same time, Russia is launching massive missile and drone strikes on Ukraine, while the negotiations initiated by Donald Trump are still ongoing. Putin's visit to India showed the so-called Global South is following its own path. And unfortunately, Western sanctions work selectively there, but they don't always hit the mark. But if we return to the issue of the United States domestic policy, here are 2 more interesting facts for you. Trump is so loudly insisting everything is for his own people that he's now literally fulfilling this promise. He says everything is only for his own people. Reuters reports that Trump is planning to buy shares in large companies. In fact, Trump wants to take stakes in businesses in exchange for government support. If you didn't sell a share of your business to structures affiliated with Trump, you didn't get government support. Same as before. Trump expressed potential concern about the planned $72 billion Netflix deal to acquire Warner Brothers film studio and the popular streaming network. Trump stated, quote, Netflix doesn't have it. A large market share and the combined size of the companies could become a problem. But then Trump says, I can help solve this problem for a small share in this company. What do you think about what we have left as of today? Well, let's put it this way. The world remains strictly divided into spheres of influence. Donald Trump is building his own kind of Fortress America, Donald. Visas are only for the chosen ones. Europe is a dying territory. Migrants face increased screening. Putin is trying to build his own axis with India and the Global South, openly ignoring all warrants and isolation. Well, we are in the middle, watching old alliances fall apart, and unfortunately it's those who were always key allies who are breaking them up. And this story with the H-1B visas is actually a signal for everyone. Because globalization, when you could live in Kiev and work for California, well, it seems like it's slowly starting to come to an end. Now you're either inside this Fortress America and playing by Donald Trump's rules, or you're outside listening to these lectures about the civilizational collapse of Europe. You know, I think Trump actually borrowed this idea from Putin, giving lectures about history, telling how everything will end, and saying that when I come, I can help you. I'll leave it at that. Write your opinions and conclusions in the comments under this episode. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and don't forget to like. That's all for now. Take care. Goodbye, everyone.